Green Lantern is a horrible superhero movie. There's no doubt about it, everybody knows this. But what you may not know is that Hector, the main villain of the movie, is an incel.
Hector! Oh my god, hey!
Hey yo, what the fuck?
Stop it. Get some help.
His entire character motivation revolves around this one girl that he's been in love with for over 20 years.
I loved her from the moment I first saw her.
Everything he does in this movie is just a step in the process of trying to get a girl that literally couldn't care less about him because she's too busy daydreaming about all the things she wants Ryan Reynolds to do to her. For those of you who are lucky enough to not have seen this also terrible movie, Green Lantern is about a guy called Hal Jordan who gets a magic green space ring from a magic pink space alien called Abin Sur after he crash lands on Earth because he was attacked by a magic yellow space monster called Parallax. Now, before we go any further, I'm sure you've heard the word incel thrown around multiple times on the internet. So, for the sake of clarity and transparency, I'm going to provide a very simple definition. The word incel stands for involuntary celibate. This is an individual who deeply desires intimacy with women but is painfully unable to attain it. Their core characteristics include little to no social skills, an unending desire to be validated by women, which can sometimes lead to a strong hatred of said women, and self-isolating antisocial behavior paired with strange idiosyncrasies such as an obsession with a very niche topic or just a marginally healthy dose of chronic late night doom scrolling. The movie starts with a 17-year flashback where we see Hal Jordan's obligatory dead dad superhero origin story. Before he died in a fatal jet engine plane crash, his dad worked as a test pilot for this jet manufacturing company called Ferris Aircraft, owned by Carl Ferris, who worked with Bob, a United States senator, to secure military and government contracts. Carl has a daughter named Carol. Bob has a son named Hector. Hal, Carol and Hector are all friends. Hector likes Carol because she's pretty, but she doesn't like him back because he's an awkward, boring nerd with no social skills that likes to read books all day. She instead likes Hal because he's a charming, cool kid who only cares about planes and is liked by everyone, especially Hector's dad, Bob, who genuinely thinks his son is worthless because he doesn't do cool, dangerous things like Hal.
You know, I keep telling Hector books are fine, but every once in a while it's not such a bad idea to get out into the real world, right, Hal?
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine.
By the time the movie picks up in the present day, Hal and Carol have clearly had some romantic history together. So the whole time they have this sitcom-esque will they, won't they kind of dynamic between them that ultimately culminates in their big kiss at the end of the movie. Oh, sorry, did I spoil the ending for you? Did you think Hector was gonna get the girl? You thought she was gonna choose the incel over Ryan Reynolds? Hal works with Carol at her dad's company as test pilots, while Hector is a weird high school teacher, even though he apparently has a PhD. When Abin Sur crash lands on Earth, the government acquires his body. Bob pulls some strings to assign Hector as the chief medical specialist in charge of studying the alien corpse, but he can't tell anyone for, obvious reasons. He gets infected by some yellow parallax residue from the body, then slowly gains telepathy and telekinesis because, of course, he does. It appears that Hector slowly drifted away from Hal and Carol over the years, so when he meets Hal at this party that the company is throwing to celebrate the successful acquisition of their latest military contract, it's a little bit weird, and it gets even worse when Bob interrupts to praise Hal and indirectly continually make his son feel inadequate.
You know, I always say there are thinkers in this world and there are doers, and you are one of the doers.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine.
Hector walks away, then a few minutes later he ambushes Carol and proceeds to have the most awkward conversation you could ever possibly imagine. After her dad publicly gives her flowers for being a key factor in the successful acquisition of their biggest contract ever, and Bob somehow still manages to sneak in one more Hal Jordan dick-sucking session on stage.
I take one look at you, young lady, or Hal Jordan over there, spitting image of his dad. You give us hope.
He walks up to her, makes a goofy face, he recognizes him, nervously gives him a hug, and he sniffs her hair. When she realizes she has nothing to say to him after all these years, her manufactured excitement fades away and awkward silence sets in. Hector starts making small talk, somehow manages to start paternally trauma dumping on her. Then, in a last-ditch attempt to simultaneously impress her and make himself feel better, he decides to breach his contract with the government and endanger national security by telling Carol about the really cool alien he got to examine a few days ago.
You imagine the way that the public will react to this?
But I know that won't happen. I do.
Although I did get to examine an alien body recently, that was very cool.
So that was a fucking lie.
Luckily, his dad overhears him and neutralizes the situation before he does any permanent damage.
Telling you another one of his science fiction stories?
What the hell's wrong with him? Can't keep his mouth shut.
I think getting cock blocked by your own dad is kind of crazy, but you definitely already blocked your own cock the moment you approached her with that goofy ass look on your face. Trust me, no amount of plausibly deniable alien dissection stories was gonna help you seal the deal, my dude. So he storms off, his dad gets in a helicopter to attend to some other obligations, and solely because the conversation with the girl he likes went poorly, he decides to commit his first real act of violence and takes his anger out on his dad by crashing his helicopter. Bro, what are you doing? It's just a girl. Fucking relax, my dude. Trying to kill your dad because of a girl is a completely new level of insane.
Stop it. Get some help.
Green Lantern saves the day, ends up saving Carol in the process because this is still a superhero movie and the protagonist does have to save his love interest at some point. Hector goes home and gets his already big ass forehead aggressively enlarging because I guess the movie just said fuck him. Hal goes to see Carol as Green Lantern. She immediately figures out his identity.
How?
They have a nice conversation. He gives her a fake birthday present for some reason. Hector stalks them for a bit, kills his dad, then kidnaps Carol and holds her hostage as he threatens to inject her with the same alien goo that infected him and turned him into the love child of Doomsday from BVS and Michael Bay's ugliest Ninja Turtle. Now, kidnapping the protagonist's love interest in the third act of the movie is usually a very cliche villain move, but this particular scenario is different because we have ourselves an incel antagonist. So, instead of trying to emotionally torture the hero or give him an ultimatum between saving the city and saving his girl, the reason he kidnaps Carol is because he recognizes that in order to get the girl, he has to become the one thing she's attracted to. And in this case, that would be a 6'2", 10% body fat, handsome, bulked up, shredded fuckboy that can also fly. That presents itself as a bit of a problem because he clearly could never aspire to be even 2% of the man that Hal Jordan is. Even before he got all fucked up in the face, this was what his posture looked like. So, since no amount of psionic abilities can replace thousands of hours in the gym and just plain old genetics, he goes for the next best thing.
And if I can't be like you, I'm gonna make her like me.
Implying that if you get her to become as ugly as he is, she will no longer have any options. Hal won't want to be with her anymore and she will be forced to be with him. A real if we were the last two people on earth would you suck my dick type deal. Not taking into account the fact that she could just choose to be by herself or intentionally kick the bucket, if you know what I'm saying. Irregardless of whether or not he's considered those two possibilities, his objective here is very clear. Get the girl by any means necessary, even if you have to kidnap her and inject her with weird alien ooze to force her to love you. But before he gets the chance to either succeed or fail and learn a lesson about the importance of not scaring the hoes, he gets eaten by parallax, then Green Lantern starts fighting him instead. No payoff, no resolution, no nothing. I told you this was a horrible movie. Anyway, subscribe to my Patreon for Weko's Echo. That's my Patreon exclusive weekly podcast where I review movies, answer your questions, and react to Reddit stories. Whew. Well, this was fun. Subscribe to the Patreon, link in the description, and I'll see you guys in the next analysis.
Stop it.